There's one pink little blob in the history of Nintendo that was seen on almost every console: Kirby. And today we're going to look at my, Dr. Wily's, favorite Kirby game of all time, named Squeak Squad. Known in Europe as Kirby Mouse Attack, and in Japan as Kirby of the Stars, calling on the Dorocha gang. This game follows the traditional formula, mainly using the face buttons, though the touchscreen is used occasionally. It ended up selling more than 1.9 million copies, which is actually not that good since the Nintendo DS sold over 154 million units. In the game, Kirby finds out that the Squeaks, an infamous group of thieving mice, are behind a bunch of robberies. He ends up following them on a journey that takes him all over Dreamland, and in the end he stops them. Now this game also had some scrapped content, certain features, rooms, locations, power-ups and more, that didn't make it into the game. And that's exactly what we're going to look at today. Let's start with a planned ability that was left out. There's one unused power in the game named Block, and it seems to be an alternate or early version of the Triple Star, which is a cane that can break terrain like clouds or ice, dig through dirt, break silver blocks, and seemingly everything. The only difference between Block and Triple Star is that Kirby wears a recolor of Beam's hat, with similar colors to mirror in Kirby Superstar. While everything about it seems to work perfectly fine, it appears to have been manually disabled, and Kirby will lose the ability as soon as he gets it. Why this was done is unknown, and its very existence alongside Triple Star invokes certain questions. But sadly enough, there aren't any real answers. It could be that it was an earlier or alternate version like we suggested before. Besides that, there isn't really any other option.
Now, there's also a pause screen associated with the block ability, and the kanji which is seen on screen translates to temporary. And this pretty much confirms that this was meant for the prototype of the game. In the game itself, there are also a ton of different levels and worlds that you visit and go through. However, there are also the ones that didn't make it in. There are about 300 unused rooms in the files, and many of them are duplicates. Most of them are for testing enemies and have a similar tileset to that of Nightmare in Dreamland and Amazing Mirror's debug tileset. Those for testing environment typically have a normal tileset. A few of those rooms are alternate or scrapped versions of regular rooms, and some are entirely separate rooms that weren't used for whatever reason. These are usually found at the end of shorter stages, such as 2-4. This is a debug room with a previously used tileset. Here is one with an array of doors leading to various testing rooms, and there's also an alternate version of a room in level 3-4. The area in the lower left is completely new. Also, most items and enemies are different, and the background is changing color. Clearly they did a lot of testing and tweaking during the development cycle of this game, since this is quite unusual. Normally there are some test rooms, however 300 is a lot more than we normally see when doing research on a certain game. Why there are so many is a bit of a mystery, but it is certainly weird. Now, this game also features a ton of enemies. Some of them are brand new and others have been seen in older games. However, there is also one that never saw the light of day. Normally, there are 3 types of squeakers: yellow, green, and blue ones. However, a red one exists in the game and is completely unseen, complete with its own unique AI. The squeaker's behavior is similar to that of the green one, throwing small bombs, but throws them faster, are more agile and follow Kirby over greater distances like the yellow one, but not quite as much. They are capable of riding warp stars in the Smash Ride subgame, and via hacking, they can still be seen. These enemies make up the lowest rank in the Roach's gang, but there is a very large number of them. It could be that this was an extra version that was meant to appear in the game, but never did, or maybe this one was replaced by the green one. We aren't really sure, however, it's a shame they were left out. They're still different enough from the others, and they even made a special AI for it. Now, they also changed some palette stuff. Aside from the 6 copy palettes that can be obtained throughout the game, there exist 4 other copy palettes in the game files featuring some of the game's bosses. They aren't used. However, it could be that you would have unlocked those if you beat the specific boss. Not sure why they would remove something like this, since it would be really fun to have them as they do look great. But sadly enough, that didn't happen.
Now there are also some differences between the European, American and Japanese version which are a bit strange, because wall collision checks on the Japanese version were a bit buggy. For example, when walking and repeatedly crouching across a thin slope, you might get ejected behind the slope into the out of bounds area. The second room in level 8-3, shown in this image, seems to be the only such place where this bug can occur. However, they fixed all of this in the international version, because in those versions, the out of bounds area in all levels seems to be completely solid. Whereas in the Japanese version, it is possible to interact with it as if it were part of the level. Clearly, Nintendo and HAL learned that it wasn't too handy to leave those spots accessible. Luckily enough, they changed it. Now, that's kind of where it ends. Some of these things would have been cool to have in the game, like the enemy they left out. However, some were left out for a good reason. 300 test rooms. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to watch more videos, click the annotations on the screen right now. Or just click on the subscribe button with the little bell next to it. And have a great New Year's Eve.